Today, we are joined by Michael Schneiders, CFO of Biotech AG. Biotech is a German industrial biotechnology company developing specialty enzymes, microorganisms, and biological solutions for applications across food, life sciences, and industry. Today, Michael presents the Biotech Company Presentation 2026. Michael, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Michael Schneiders. I'm the CFO of Biotech AG in Germany, and in the next 10-12 minutes, I'd like to explain to you what Biotech is all about, what our equity story is, and why you should consider us for an investment. Biotech is an industrial biotechnology company. What does it mean? Actually, we take ideas of nature and try to make them useful for industrial production. And with that, we try to essentially attack some of the greatest challenges in the world, particularly around energy and environment, food security, and livestock farming. For example, in energy and environment, we are looking at energy savings in particular, i.e. if you transform a classical chemical process to a biological process, you usually do it at less pressure, less temperatures, and therefore save energy. For food securities, for example, some of our enzyme products can extend shelf life of food, break down starch within food. We use side streams of a food production to make them more valuable. We even can create completely new food products, for example, on the protein side. In livestock farming, we are looking actually to eliminate the cow, the animal, from the protein production, so that it will be possible in the future to produce, for example, identical milk proteins in the fermenter instead of using the cow on the field. Biotechnology is a very efficient tool set to be employed for health, nutrition, and, for example, for more resilient supply chains. And we actually at Biotech use cells, microorganisms, or biomolecules for industrial production. And we use them either for groundbreaking new technology solutions, which we have in our BioIncubator, or we use for evolutionary processes within food production and nutrition production within our segment BrainBiocatalysts. The market for industrial enzyme applications, which makes around 60-70% of our products within the company, keeps constantly growing. So looking at recent trends, about 6 to 7% CAGR being forecasted for the next years. And also the past years, the industry has been growing around the same rate. And we, of course, as a company, try to harvest as much of the growth as we can and maybe outgrow the markets in some years because we are of a smaller size and smaller starting size. Key growth drivers are mega trends. So we're looking at resilience of supply chain. We're looking at sustainability of supply chain. We're looking at food trends. So think about vegan food, think about food alternatives, think about sport nutrition and proteins, for example, or new pharmaceutical drugs, either as active pharmaceutical ingredients or basically enzymes as processed agents to produce new drugs. The group today is clearly structured in two pillars. On the left-hand side, BrainBiocatalysts, the majority of our business. In last fiscal year, around 54 million of sales, around 10% EBITDA margin, and a strong R&D drive with 4 to 6% R&D ratio in percentage of sales. Here we produce our products, mainly enzyme products, which get sold into the healthcare industry, into the food industry, and into the beverage industry. On the right-hand side, we have our BioIncubator. Here we have highly innovative projects and participations with partners. We try to bring products to market who really change your living, either on the pharma or non-pharma side of things. And here we're not looking to sell products. We are majorly looking to license our products and generate fee and royalty income for the company. So how do we do it? Well, actually, as I said, we look out in nature. So normally we look out in nature to discover either a protein or a new enzyme or a new molecule. And once we have found that protein or molecule, we need to produce it. And usually we produce means, in our case, we ferment. And fermentation means we ferment in microbial strains. They're either things like yeasts or they're like bacillus strains or fungal strains. And many of them you can find even in your household to make, for example, sauerkraut, to make bread, or to make beer and brew. And we use these microbial strains to produce essentially the enzyme we target. Doing that is called expression technology. Once we have developed it, we need to optimize the strain for better yield and better production to make it actually viable for industrial production. We develop a whole bioprocess around it, then bring it into steel, i.e. in our fermenters. And here at Brain, we have very small fermenters, but we also have 10-cube fermenters at our Cardiff site, where we can produce at industrial scale. We do then formulation blending according to customer needs and have a sales and distribution organization who can deliver the products to the customers. What makes us quite special in that is that we are essentially an integrated company. We are a one-stop shop to our customers. There are not many of these companies around in the world. We are quite small, hence we can be more agile than other companies. We have a very focused organizations, particularly in enzymes and microbiology. We have very strong application skills, particularly in our baking lab, but also in the areas of fruit juice or brewing. And we have a very flexible infrastructure to allow for our customers to produce their target molecules at their desired size. If you ask, how do we address the customers? We essentially have 3 go-to-market models. First of all, our products business, the sales, distribution, and production. We majorly focused here on dairy, egg, baking, fruit juice, wine, and starch processing. We have our contract research organization. Here we essentially sell research capacity to customers and do projects on their behalf. And we have the so-called CDMO, CMO offerings, which actually is contract design and manufacturing organization, where we develop essentially products on behalf of our customers. We lend them our steel capacity to produce. What do all of these platforms have in common? They share one technology platform. So from discovery over engineering, expression, fermentation, scale up to the finished product, i.e. the downstream processing, we can do everything of that in-house. And that one technology platform powers our 3 different models. If we talk about innovation within the group, it can mean very different things to different segments. So for example, on the left-hand side, we have enzyme products and applications. Here we ship products to customers. And the innovation is a lot of times in the formulation of a product. We have really applications to ours. So we have bakers talking to bakers. We have brewers talking to brewers. And we have food technologies talking to the food industry. If you're talking more about the scientific part of the business, so the contract research organization, here actually our technologists, our scientists at the Swingenberg labs mainly produce really high innovative breakthrough innovations, such, for example, the CRISPR-Cas genome editing tool, which we have developed here in-house. And last but not least, our infrastructure allows us to develop also bioprocess and do the scale-up, i.e. we do have a steel infrastructure for production on our own products or on our customers' behalf. Brain today has about 50 million of revenues, but we think we have a total addressable market of more than 2 billion, i.e. plenty of space to grow. The biggest verticals for growth for us is clearly dairy. We are trying to also grow in the baking industry and brewing industry, and also within life sciences. So we're not afraid of being able to have enough addressable markets. It's to deliver growth, which is really our challenge, not the markets itself. Going now from the products business to the BioIncubator business, we have at the moment 6 major projects we run in the BioIncubator, starting from the fermented beverage ingredients as a platform to drive many innovations in the food industry. We're really active, which is partner to Corbion here on antimicrobials. We have a program where we extract on a microbial way gold from whale streams, which we have partners to the Swiss TX group. Solar Secure is a spin-off we have done many years ago, where we developed an enzymatic wound debrider and an agent which helps to heal wounds, outsourced in a license deal from a Brain perspective. And we have 2 major products that would be very high value contributor in the next couple of years. Royalty Pharma for virus on the one side and Acribion Therapeutics on the other side, which I'm going to explain in a bit more detail. First of all, Royalty Pharma. Here we have a very valuable stream of future royalty income from a company called Pharvaris, where we have actually exclusively licensed one of our compounds by the name of Biocrictibant. And we have sold these royalty streams upfront to a pharma monetization company called Royalty Pharma, which can bring Brain up to 138 million of proceeds. 18.4 million of that already booked on our accounts. Another 2.3 million came in last year. And we're expecting essentially another 16 million in the shorter term, another 92 million on top of that, essentially in the medium term via sales-related revenues. Acribion Therapeutics, here we have licensed out part of our genome engineering technology, the CRISPR-Cas-like technology, to a company called Renewable Therapeutics, and we have the exclusive rights to use their technology for the employment essentially on therapeutics. And we're looking for new ways to cure cancer by a so-called targeted killing of cancer cells. And we're right now at the very early beginnings of that, but it could generate for Brain up to 92 million of fee income and accessional royalties on top on net sales. So why should you think about investing into Brain? But first of all, we have a clear vision of becoming one of the top 10 global enzyme companies. We have embarked on a strategy of profitable growth, especially the enzyme segments. We are looking at large growing addressable markets, so about 2 billion of addressable markets with 50 million of market size we have today. We are one of the few integrated solutions provider on the market, a skill which is actually looked for as an outsourcing partner quite strongly at the moment. We have successfully shown that you can commercialize things from our BrainBiocatalysts with the examples of Renewable Therapeutics, but also the Pharvaris Royalty Pharma deal. And last but not least, many of our products address the UN sustainability development goals, but also make our local supply chain significantly more resilient. If you have any more questions, please contact me or Martina Schuster as Investor Relations, and we're more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Michael, for presenting Brain Biotech AG. Visit Seat 11A to discover company presentations, financial results, elevator pitches, and deep dives from listed companies across Europe. Seat 11A gives investors direct access to company management and their businesses, strategies, and financial performance. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to welcoming you back soon on Seat 11A.
Disclaimer. As described in the legal section on our website, seat11a.com, this publication is for informational purposes only. This means it is not intended to provide you with any investment advice. Any opinion or recommendation expressed by the companies is neither given nor supported by us and should not be considered investment advice from our side. Also, remember that any opinion or recommendation expressed is subject to change without further notice. The content is obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, or timeliness. Seat11a.com and its employees disclaim all liability for any loss that may arise in any form from any use of the information in the video, audio, and on our website. We neither express any opinion on the future value of any security or other investment vehicle, nor recommend any investment based on the information provided. Please consider the publications and our website as a platform for companies to present themselves. You need to seek financial advice from an expert regarding the accuracy and appropriateness of the material presented or recommended by the companies in the publication. As we are just considered a publisher, we may hold and trade securities in the presenting company, whether it is a listed or private company. By consuming our content, you agree to these terms and the terms in our legal section on our website.